Hello, Devlin here with you, and welcome to another edition of Mondo Nostalgia. I tell you the number, but I can never remember. I think we're about 169, maybe, something like that. It's hard to believe I've done that much content on YouTube. Throw that in with some of the other stuff I've done, some of the Count Devula specials and the Damien and Devlin review show. It's just amazing that I never knew I was that creative. Well, I guess I did. That's a bit of a lie. Anyhow, thank you for joining me today. Let's get the pleasantries out of the way. Thank you for pressing play. I have a pretty scary picture up at the front, and I don't mean scary like, oh my God, look at the horror, but geez. And I told Mike to take a picture of me when I came back from one of my essential supply runs, and but that's what I am. I'm an artist, so even when I don't look that great, I like to share the pictures. But I thought it was a great picture to show kind of what I looked like. It happened to be raining that day too, so it added to it. But I didn't put all my regular, like, pretty makeup that I like to, clean up touches. And so, yeah, that's probably the scariest thing you'll see this week. I hope it is. But anyhow, yes, we're still stuck in isolation. It looks like we're going to be that way for a little while. I'd love to say that this episode won't talk that much about it, but that's pretty much what's been on my mind a lot, and I'm sure it's not far from your mind either. So what I've decided to do is that this episode, I'm actually going to talk about it. We do have a little bit of news, and I do have the answers to last week's question that I asked you. I got a couple of answers, and thank you for taking the time to answer. Every Sunday, I put up a new question. There's one up there right now. So right after you listen to this, don't forget to go over, check out all the good stuff you can find on my Mondo Nostalgia face page, and definitely answer that question. And I will share some of the answers for the question I asked the week before, which was, what was a comfort food that you looked forward to as a kid that when you have it or think about it, it automatically takes you back to a nicer time in the world. And I will share some of my answer and share some of the ones that you left for me. And again, thank you for everybody who's been interacting with Mondo Nostalgia. I know in times like these, a lot of people think, why are you wasting your time doing podcasts or putting up stuff on Mondo Nostalgia? You know what? Because we need that kind of stuff right now. As I said, this podcast, I'm going to talk a lot about it. I'm going to have some venting. I'm going to have some raging. I'm going to have some emotions. But I'm going to also hope to leave it with some positivity. Anybody who are regulars to listening to my podcast knows that even in my darkest hours, I try to leave things with positivity, and that's what I plan to do with this too. So if you feel I'm getting a little too dark or something, just remember I'll always bring it back around. But I don't blame you if you want to turn this off or listen to it at a time when you're in a better place, because I know there are times I have to step away from social media or news just because, we're being saturated with all this stuff, and it's mind-blowing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about everything, my emotional roller coaster. Now, this episode, I've been putting up my episodes lately on Sunday, and some of you are probably thinking, yeah, he did 3 in a row, and that's it. He'll be gone for a bit. But surprise, I did do a 4th one. It's coming a little bit late, and the reason for that is because I had a really low period this week. For those of you who follow me as Devlin Bishop on Facebook, and even if I don't know you, but you listen to my podcast, send me a little note, because that'd be kind of cool. I love, hearing that people are investing their time, and I know we have a lot of that on our hands right now, but it always blows me away when people take the time to press play and just sit and listen. And I love it even more when people comment, you know. So, yeah, please do. But what I was getting to, and I'm going to be all over the place, I'll warn you right now, because after I've gone through a little bit of a depression, I tend to be that way. But I like to stay positive. There was a time where I would be, and I'm always honest. So when I'm going through a bad time, I will say it. But again, I try to keep it with a positive spin, because I know I'm not alone, and I know my depression isn't any more real than yours or people that are having a harder time. But I want to talk all about that. And I want to talk about some of the stuff that's driving me crazy. And I want to talk about just about everything that's on my mind. So I'm going to rant. I'm going to be emotional. I'm going to be thing. We will get some news because there was some news. Most of it is coronavirus. But as I said, right now, that is our life. And we'll get to that very soon. Let's start off with the picture. Okay, I've been joking, and I've been seeing people posting stuff about, what their apocalyptic image looks like. Because, I'm noticing we're not exactly dressing up to go to the grocery stores or the pharmacies or wherever we have to go. Because basically we're in and out. Well, hopefully we're in and out. I know there's a lot of people that are still going out doing stupid things, and I'll talk about them later. But for most of us, we are basically, okay, today is an essentials day. Whatever essentials mean to you, I'm not going to judge. But anyhow, it's time to go. I take this really serious. So I don't do anything real different. But as you can see from that scary picture, I do have a pair of gloves. Now, this is a pair of gloves, and some people might think these gloves are not appropriate. But I bought them last year because I like the look. I like the logo with the skulls on them. And I remembered I bought them at the dollar store, and I liked them. And I never wore them because at Value Village, when I dress up for Halloween, we're not allowed to wear gloves. Or stuff like that can, so I bought them and I forgot all about them. And then when I remembered them, I started wearing them. Now, I didn't get a chance to get rubber gloves. They were all sold out before I could get to them. And I think they're going to be sold out for a very long time. And to be absolutely honest, I would rather have the people that are still risking their lives all the time to have them. Whether that's doctors, nurses, grocery people, pickup, truckers, pickup people that work out in the pickup, the manufacturing plant, the people who are actually out there doing this stuff. I would rather have them have them. So, I wear my little cheap dollar store gloves with these skulls on them. I don't know why. It just seems appropriate for my apocalyptic look. I also don't wear jewelry. For those of you who know me, I love wearing earrings. I have a couple of rings I like to wear. And I love wearing bracelets. But when I come home and do the scrub down and, get all, all the germs off that I can, I figure there's no real reason to have the jewelry on. So I will save that for when I'm lounging around the house. I hadn't worn an earring in a couple of days, and I got to the point where, I better start wearing an earring or my hole is going to seal up. There's words I never thought I'd be saying on a podcast, but yes, my hole would seal up. And if you just turned in right now, first of all, why are you listening to this podcast? Couple minutes into it. But anyhow, I was talking about my earring. So I don't wear them going out because that's just more things that germs can land on. And I don't know. I'm not an expert. I don't know if they can land on cheap jewelry because honestly, I don't wear the good stuff. But I just, why bother? So there I am. And then the only other thing I wear is I wear my leather jacket and I wear a scarf. Now, I know some people are wearing the face masks. I've seen a couple people wear scarves, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. I have a scarf with me, but it's a decorative one. I don't know if you can really see it in that picture. I can't remember what the picture looks like, but it's more decorative. I wear these all the time, all year round. But I figure I have it there if, somebody starts coughing or choking, and I try not to be rude. Yeah, I know my life is on the line, but I still think etiquette is still important. I'm still a Canadian, and I know that doesn't really mean politeness anymore, but I'd like to still think it does. So I have this, so if somebody does, I can literally just pull up my fashionable scarf and put it over my nose if I have to. And then the thing you definitely can't see in the picture is what I call my laundry pants. And I just want to bring them up because they kind of make me smile. And if it gives you a smile or a laugh, they're just basically these weird bulky jeans that I wear. But I call them my laundry pants because the only time I ever wore these is when I'm going to do my laundry. And basically, I just go and these are the pants that I don't wear anywhere but to the laundromat in order to... Sorry, I'm making myself giggle. Yeah, so I call them my laundry pants because when I want to wash all my other pants that I wear during the week, these are the pants I only wear to the laundromat, so I wear them. But because they're so comfortable, and even though they're really ugly, I still wear them, and I figure they're good. And lately I've been wearing my boots because I just feel for the apocalyptic feel of going out into the world, I think boots are good. I tried to wear these runners I bought last year. I bought them near the end, and then the snow came, and then I didn't wear them. And I thought, oh, I haven't wore these. I'm going to wear them one day, and I paid for it dearly. I hadn't fixed them in yet, when you wear shoes, and they were cutting into the back of my legs, and I was in such pain. And I didn't even realize when I got home, I'm, doing all my washing stuff. I've gotten all my apocalyptic clothes off, and then basically... Mike looked at the back of my feet and said, "Oh my God, you're bleeding." And I realized they had cut right in there. So I think those new shoes I'm going to have to either wear with Band-Aids until they've been broken in, or I might just ditch them and get a new pair. So anyhow, that's my apocalyptic look, and I wanted to show that in my episode. I promise next week I'll try to take a much nicer picture of myself. But I thought it was also a stark contrast to last week's podcast picture, which was me smelling the flowers. So this is I'm going to talk about whatever I need to talk about. And then next week, I'm actually going to try to find other things to talk about. I'm still sure I'm going to talk a little bit about the isolation. And I know by next week, we're coming up to the point where a lot of people are hoping to go back to work, but I think we're all coming to the realization that it's going to be a couple more weeks. I'll stay optimistic. Now, I hope people were offended out there that I see my apocalyptic look, because I've been seeing stuff on social media that, some people are like, it's funny how you get some people who are looking this kind of in the, I would say, maybe not totally negative way, but kind of a different stark relation. And then other people that are trying to find a twist for everything. Kind of like you'll see one meme that's like, oh, I can't believe I'm stuck at home. And then somebody will post, you're not stuck at home, you're safe at home. Which I appreciate those. Sometimes they're a little much, depending on my mood, but other times I'm very appreciative of it. But other times it's like when I go out and I don't see many people around, or you see the odd person and you give them the nod, like, yeah, we're in this together kind of thing. I kind of call it my apocalyptic look. It looks like something out of a movie, whether it's The Walking Dead or something else. Going off a track a bit, I recently posted that I should be okay surviving because I have watched the majority of The Walking Dead and every single episode of Little House on the Prairie. Last weekend, Mike and I watched a few episodes of Little House on the Prairie, and we realized that this show is all about struggle. And it was an awesome show because families used to watch it together. Now, we saw a couple of episodes. Like, I can't believe families watch this because they dealt with some really dire topics. But you know what? There's a lot of survival stuff in that. And, of course, The Walking Dead, survival stuff for every reason. But when I do go out to grab my supplies, you know, I try to I look what time and say, okay, I don't want to be out too long, so let's go. And I don't drive. And so I just hit stores close by. And when we need to go for a bigger run, I go with Mike. Yes, we travel in a car together, and I know it's not social distancing, but Mike and I live in a house together, and we're family, and family is going to stay close in my eyes. So you can yell at me, you can thing. It's okay, because if I get it, Mike's probably going to get it, and if Mike gets it, I'm probably going to get it. And you know what? He's one of the people I would forgive if he gave it to me. There's only a small list of people that I would forgive. But besides that, I am doing my part in the social isolating. So leave me alone on that. But anyhow, so when I go out, I see it as the future, as in the dark apocalypse, Mad Max kind of world. But other people are now saying, when you see not many people, don't think of it as the apocalypse. Think of it as all the people that care about humanity. That's a nice way to look at it. I will admit, it's a gorgeous way to look at it, and I will try to look at that way, even though I'm still put my apocalyptic laundry pants, skull gloves on. I'm not afraid to look not as cute as I normally do going out. But to me, that's just the way I perceive it. And yeah, I do perceive it as that. I have some theories on that, and I don't know if I want to go that deep into it. I'll touch upon it a little bit, but then I'll move on because I have a lot to rant about, and I don't want this to be a 2-hour thing about me. I hate this, I hate that, I hate this. As I said, I'll put a lot of positivity in it too. My thing right now is, over the last couple of years, we have all become socially distant in a lot of ways. Some people more than others. There are people that spend their weekends just binge watching or playing video games. There are some people that literally will avoid visiting people because they would rather stay home and rest. So when I see people going on about, this social distancing, I think this is something that the world is trying to get us to do. And I think there's some pros and cons with that. You look around and you can definitely see there's a lot of pros and cons. I don't like the idea of social distancing too much. I think a little bit is really good. But I think we're losing a lot of that. It's funny, even though we're connected with the social media and with texting and all this stuff, we're losing that human contact. And some people are okay with that. I am not. Because we're now raising a younger generation that are losing huge things like empathy. And they don't understand other people, because it's all about them. Now, I'm not saying that for every young person. Please don't think that. But I am seeing it more and more in younger people that cannot relate to anybody. And this is going to become worse and worse with every generation. So I think social distancing has been happening for a long time. So I actually don't think, for a lot of people, there's some funny people writing in memes that this is always my life. And I just hope that the people who are saying this stuff like this is going to change them when we go back, or this is going to make me want to spend time with my loved ones more, or I'm going to stay away from social media more than I do now, I hope that happens. One of the things that gets me depressed, and I will talk about my depression a little bit, because I know a lot of you are probably dealing with dark moments too, is I want to believe that people will change. But we have seen so many things from 9/11 to other things in the world where people change for a little bit, but then we go right back to abusing the planet, abusing other humans, treating people like dirt, and that's the part that scares me. I have so much to talk about. I don't know where to begin, but I'm going to start, since we just got through my apocalyptic close. When I go out, I also try to thank everybody I see that's working. And thank you for coming to work today, because they're in a high-risk job. I can't imagine how scared they are. I can a little bit, because near the end of when I had to work, I was in a non-essential store, and they kept it open for way too long. They knew they were non-essential, but they kept it open, and it scared me how easily susceptible I was. Mike goes to work every day. I can't go into details in his job, but basically he's connected to the hospital. It has a lot to do with data processing and keeping patients' files up to date. Doctors and nurses need to access this and know exactly what they're dealing with patients. So that's technically what Mike does. And he was told that they would be open as long as they possibly could. If you go into the stores now, they're putting plexiglass up. They're trying to give cashiers more money, more incentive. I know people who are actually getting new jobs as cashiers because they want to work even though they're scared. But a lot of them are out there and they're very scared and terrified. I feel almost hypocritical when I thank them, but I'd rather feel like that than have those people feel like that. The last time I was out, I actually thanked a couple of the people, and I could tell it meant a lot to them. And what shocked me most was how many told me that people are still treating them like garbage, and not many are thanking. And the few that do, it really helps them. They want to know they're appreciated. What person on this planet does not want to know that they are appreciated? And so when you're out and about, keep that in mind. I thank God every day when Mike comes home from work, and we check on each other every day. You got a sore throat. You got sniffles. Is it allergies? Because we both suffer from allergies. My cough has actually gotten better, from those of you who listened to last week, and I said if I cough, don't start rumors that I've got it. We check on each other. We love each other. If he gets it, I will take care of him. If I get it, he will take care of me. Mike is incredible. He's my rock. For those of you lucky enough to have met him, he's very quiet and shy. And he goes out, but if you get to know him, even better, he's very funny and sensitive and caring, and he is my rock. He really is. And he goes out every weekday to do his job. He comes in, and if we need stuff, he will even drop by so I don't have to go out. And at the end of the day, I try to pamper him and do what I can to make him feel good. But at the end of the day, he's still worried more about me. And that's what I'm dealing with, because to be honest with you, I probably said this before, getting it is the least of my problems. I worry about my friends getting it. I worry about, what the world's going to be like after this. Yes, I love the whole idea that some of us are going to change, but I know damn well a lot of it's going to just snack back into normal until the next crisis where we all declare we're going to change. These are the things that plague my mind. I'm going to talk about my depression, but first of all, I want to thank all of you if you are still going out there. I've reached out on messengers, people that I know that work in the industry, to thank them. They're scared. They're terrified. And they don't always show it. Because they can't. They may have quiet moments where they do. But they know damn well that unless you're out there on the front lines, and right now, front lines is grocery stores, pharmacies, as well as hospitals. There's places you can't even imagine. As I said, I will touch on my depression later. But I am going to talk about some pet peeves that are driving me crazy right now. And it's going to go back and forth. Things that I like, kind of like pros and cons, I guess. But anyhow, I'll end that segment by thanking you if you are one of the people that are still going out and putting your lives out there. Stay safe. And I hope your whole family stays safe too. And hopefully this self-isolation will flatten the curve. And in a couple of weeks, we'll start seeing better progress. We're going into our scariest weeks because they said we're hitting about the 2-week period that people started isolating. It'll be a week or two that we start seeing, because we could still get the virus if it's in our body. So we will start seeing with the cases. Right now the cases are increasing, but it'll be the next week or two that we really see. And throw into that we have all the unemployment and stuff. It's going to become a very stressful week. So I am going to talk about the things that depressed me. But first, some pet peeves that are driving me crazy. I do go on social media. I like feeling connected. Sometimes I have to walk away because there's just too much. I really have a problem with some of the people out there that are trying to help. I think there are some people that are doing amazing jobs on social media trying to help people through. I have seen lots of statuses where it's like, if you need someone to talk, contact me. They're posting places you can call for if you need to talk to a professional about dealing with anxieties or depression. If you're dealing with addictions during this time and finding it harder to deal with because of all the other stuff. That kind of stuff I think is amazing. When they post games, or when people do Zoom meetings with family members or friends, or find ways to use it in a positive way. I had a friend, Ryan, who recently was setting up a speaking event to talk about how to become a leader and how to speak like a leader. And he was going to be doing this live. He's been working on it for months. And he actually did it online. And it wasn't how he planned it, but I got the chance to be part of it, and it was amazing. And I'm going to be looking into Zoom this week, and hopefully I'll be contacting some friends that I haven't been able to see in a little while. And you never know. I might stop in and say hi to a couple of you. For those of you, I'll make sure I put some nice clothes on and stuff so you don't have to see me like the picture in my podcast thing. I hope Heather isn't... I hope Corda, when she's putting this together, is not like showing that picture every time I fucking mention it. Because that would just be a nightmare. It'd just be like, man, there it is. She's totally doing it now that I brought it up. I just know it. But anyhow. But there's some other people that think they're doing wonderful things. And they're not. And that's the people who are posting everything. And the problem with posting everything is you know damn well they are not reading it. Because this is instilling fear and anxiety in people. It's the stuff that's filling our news feeds with ridiculous stuff that when you actually open it and read it, it's all just... it's just there to frighten. Everything does not need to be posted, okay? Read it and then decide if you think this is going to be helpful. People were yelling at people for hoarding toilet paper, but they weren't yelling at the people that were posting pictures of empty aisles who were creating more of the riot than anybody who knew. So that's the same case. So just be careful what you post. There's so much wonderful stuff to post that is positive information and factual. But there is so much stuff that's being posted that is later being said that wasn't true. Somebody just made that up to make people feel good or to not make people feel good. By the way, if you notice that I'm my tone is all over the place, it's because I am walking around when I'm doing this. Just because this is my way of getting exercise, I guess. I've been walking steady and holding my handheld microphone. You know, it's funny. I'm off topic here. I was talking about how it's been scary asking people to come join the podcast. But after this, I'm going to try to get some co-hosts for this because this is like my 4th week of just doing it on my own. And I can talk forever. But I do want to talk with other people. So I'm not going to be so nervous to ask them to come and do my podcast with me. Other things I get tired of seeing is the stay home. Yes, this is a great idea. Everybody should. Last week, I was out of the house twice. I went for a quick essential run on the Tuesday, I believe, and then I went out with Mike for a grocery essential run on the Sunday. And that's it. I've been in the house since that. I'm actually doing apartment laundry because I'm not going to my laundromat. We have a laundromat in the building. I'm not going there either. So we look at our essentials and we sit. One day I did it in the bathtub, and then we find places to hang things up. And then one day Mike was actually cleaning clothes in a pail. And he was laughing because we were just like, it's come to this. One day you have the luxuries of life, going out to a laundromat. The next day you're cleaning your own underpants in a pail. So anyhow, that's been kind of fun. But anyhow, back to my venting. Yes, staying home is the right idea. And if you can, you should be. But you're not going to change people. In fact, it's funny how many times I see people stay the fuck home. Like they're using coarse language. Like that's going to hurt them. When I went to I had to go do a pharmacy run. And a couple places over, there's a dollar store. I decided to go into Eastgate and grab a couple of things from the dollar store. It's a good place for snacks and stuff. And yeah, that's a whole other topic about overeating. I've actually been pretty good. I've been expecting to be like Jabba the Hutt when this is all over, but I'm actually doing pretty good. But a point, again, I'm all over the place. I went into Eastgate. And I was shocked at the amount of people. First of all, there wasn't a lot of people. But most of the people were they knew where they were going and that's it. But there were people lounging on chairs. There were people like 3 or 4 in a little area talking, having a coffee. And I couldn't believe it. But I didn't yell, stay the fuck home, because I'm not going to change them. And what I love about people that constantly put this is the fact that, well, if they're out and about, and yes, I see that it's happening in some cases in Hamilton. We have too many people riding the bus, and they're just doing it because they have nothing better to do. So anyhow, yes, this is an issue, but you're not going to change them. But I think it's funny when they're telling people stay the fuck home. But if I'm on my social media, I'm probably home seeing this, and it gets annoying. Because you're not going to change people. People are still going to do stupid things. Do you think everybody's just going to be like, hey, I'm smart, I'm going to stay home because that's the right thing to do? No, that's not going to happen. But their anger is angering me because it's just like, stop it. You can suggest it. But when it consistently, that's all you see, it is so annoying. And then what's even more annoying is when you see people say, oh, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do that. And then they post pictures of them out at like the liquor store. Now, I won't even go into that part of it about the whole distancing yourself and we're only going to have essential stores and the amount of stores that were open that goes into my depression thing. And I know the whole thing with liquor stores and vape stores and, marijuana distilleries is they're afraid that people who are addicted, it'd be crazy to just cut that off for them. And we might be dealing with, crazies and stuff. It's sad that we worry about that more than homeless people or people who have to go in and risk their lives because they need to keep the liquor stores open. But anyhow, what I'm getting at is people are telling you what not to do, and then they're posting things like them sitting in the backyard, just like a couple of inches away from their neighbor who came over and brought over a beer, and they're having like a little get-together. But these are the same people that have like their picture with the words "stay the fuck home" around it. The people that are giving me the evil eye because Mike and I are like driving in a car together. And then I see pictures of families cuddling together. Well, shouldn't they all be in individual rooms? So stop fucking judging. Stop fucking judging. Offer it once a day. You should stay at home. Say it in a nice way. Stay the fuck home. It doesn't matter if you say it nice or think they're still going to do it. But it just irritates me that that's all I read because of the people that feel that posting everything is going to make everybody educated, even though the stuff they're posting is causing more chaos than they could even possibly imagine. Yeah, I'm angry when I see people just wandering around doing nothing. I'm sitting there running to the dollar store thinking, okay, I got to get out of here in about 15 minutes and I should be good. Got my laundry pants on, I got my apocalyptic gloves on, and then I see somebody who's just sitting there looking at their phone, just lounging around, some old guy, some old woman just sitting there, I have nothing better to do. I'm just going to go lounge like I did when the world was normal. Yeah, that angers me. But don't even get me started on how come we're not angry at all the people that traveled? If people made lives that they didn't have to travel to, or only traveled to go see family or work-related, and didn't just travel because it's like, oh, I hate my life, I'm going to go and thing. Jeez, just imagine how many... Yes, I get angry about that. The fact that I still see people are still traveling. They close schools, but airports and stuff, they're still open. We have travel restrictions. And yes, it's sad that people are isolated from their families and are stuck in other countries. But if they weren't traveling, they wouldn't be. If they had lives that they actually liked here instead of I have to travel. And if you travel, I'm not putting you down. I'm just saying if people can get mad at stay at home, I should be able to write and say, you fucking travelers, you fucking got us here. I told you I was going to vent. I'll be angry at if there's a baby boom because of this. Somebody told me the other day that their police are thinking of pulling over cars with 2 people in it because they're not socially distancing if they're sitting in the front seats together. In 9 months from now, and we start seeing a baby boom, and we're not fucking giving tickets to people who obviously weren't socially distancing each other. I know this is over the top thinking, but to me, buy fucking rubbers. We have had baby booms for the most ridiculous reasons, and overpopulating is something we need to think about too. And yes, we're losing a lot of people, but that doesn't mean we need to repopulate. planning a family is as important as really thinking it through. And not just, well, if you get pregnant, you get pregnant. It pisses me off. But do I say anything? No, because if I do, I'm considered an idiot. But I have to tune in every morning and see, stay the fuck at home. I told you, I'm venting. This is all stuff that's going to lead up to my little depression time. Anyhow, moving on. What other things can piss me off at this time? Oh, yes, this is another thing. People who are standing up for other people's rights. And I noticed that a lot of these are the same people who are posting everything. So now they're talking about, instead of going on unemployment, I might get this wrong. I apologize. I've been avoiding the news a little bit, but I do need to make money. So Justin Trudeau said that if you're laid off or if you're self-isolating or if you get sick, instead of going on unemployment, you'll get $2,000. And this is wonderful. I don't make $2,000 regularly at work. If I was full-time, probably, yeah, maybe a little bit close. But now some of these people that post everything and tell people to stay the fuck home every 10 minutes are complaining about this. Because they're like, where was this for disabled people? Where is this for, people who need it? Where was this money that we can do this suddenly for so many people? I do agree with the people who say that the people on the front lines should be getting this kind of raise. Doctors and nurses make good money, but not as good as what they are dealing with right now. They should be doing better. But what about grocery store workers? They're not making the same as nurses or doctors. And now even though they have done things to help them with more money, it's still making more money if you just stop working and go on this emergency benefits thing. But the thing that pisses me off most about the people who are complaining about this and saying, well, what about the disabled people? What about the, and yes, there is so much that we need to talk about when this is all said and done. I agree with that part of it. But these people that are posting this are going to be the first people on April 6th to be applying for it. Because I know a lot of the people that I'm seeing posting everything are self-isolating. And I guarantee you, if you're that offended by it, then maybe you should go get a job as a cashier on the front lines. I heard you can get some great career opportunities now. If you're so offended, because you know damn well you're going to take the $2,000 handout, but you're going to be like, oh, but once you get that check in your hand, you'll be like, oh, but what about all the people that didn't get this beforehand? Where was all this money? This blows me away. So if you are that offended by it, and you have posted stuff about how the government is screwing over people, because they're trying to find the best way to deal with this. And remember, they don't know. Nobody's had to deal with this. They didn't have systems like this when the Black Plague or stuff like that was going on. SARS was pretty bad, but it wasn't to the epidemic that we're going to be seeing around the world. So for those of you who have ever posted something that are so offended by the government, then you should be out there working. And, maybe one of those people that are going in every day that are risking their job, maybe they should take the $2,000. And then you can go and stand up for them. Because it drives me crazy, because I know damn well that these people are going to be the first ones online to make sure they get their $2,000. But they will bitch about it. Social injustice. Okay, I'm done ranting because it feels good. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, that's not what my show has ever been about. That's not true. I talk about whatever I feel like. But I do want to thank the people that are posting stuff like, if you need help, contact me. Or if you, let's play a game. I know some people are saying, post a picture of the lake, post a picture of the water. Show me a picture of your pet. Let's do a game. What's your favorite songs? Thank you for all the people who are trying to get all this rubbish out. And you know what? If you find an article that's helpful, I love the articles about hearing about, like, if you take Advil and stuff, it actually causes spread of it. I've looked into this. But again, I don't post that kind of stuff on Mondo Nostalgia because we're not that kind of thing. I will only place maybe a funny little meme here and there, but that's it. Because I'm not a news station except if it's actual news. I think this is going to be a longer episode than I thought. Because I do want to touch on my depression. Because I know we're all feeling it and we're going to feel it. So, anybody who knows me knows that I deal with depression and anxiety. It's actually been a year since I started my journey to get help and see a counselor. Started working on mindfulness and stuff. And for the most part, it worked. But a couple of days ago, I went into a dark despair. I won't go too deep into this, but you need to hear it. Because some of you might be there right now. Hopefully, I did not create any of it by talking about things that piss me off. But I got dark. I've been looking into people. I've been checking into people. People I haven't seen in a while. People I love. People who are older, younger. It doesn't matter. And I've been checking in. Then I took a little bit of break from social media. And I noticed not many people were checking on me. And I'm okay with that. I've got loved ones that do. And I know they're dealing with a lot too. But my mindfulness decided to take a break. And that's exactly what happened. I disappeared. And that's exactly what happened. I started thinking about all the positive things people posted. Like, look at all the good that's coming out of this. Pollution is down in areas. Traffic isn't out there, so our pollution is down. Our air is going to be incredible this spring. Gas prices have come down. We can't go anywhere, but you can get gas for crazy amounts right now. But sometimes I can tell when social media starts rubbing me the wrong way because people start talking about how there's going to be a new movement when this is all done. That people are going to start hugging their loved ones more, contacting them more. People are going to start going out in nature more. They're going to start playing board games with their loved ones. They're going to start returning messages immediately instead of waiting for a couple of days. And that's all stuff that I look forward to seeing. Stuff I've always been doing. But then my brain takes me to, it's not going to happen. It'll happen for the first little bit, and then we will take things for granted because that's what we do. I'm rationing toilet paper now. I've got toilet paper. I'm not hoarding, but I've got a lot. But I'm still rationing. I'd like to think I'm going to ration. I tell my head I'm going to ration when this is all over still. I'm not going to use as much as I did before because I was wasteful. Because it was a luxury that was something we didn't take for granted. Until we were afraid that, oh my God, we're going to have to use our old socks to wipe our ass with because there's no toilet paper around. Horrible image, but truthful. But anyhow, it weighed heavy on me and I started feeling depressed. I started avoiding social media, only going to check on the few people that were messaging me and making sure they get a message back. I never lie. I'd tell them I wasn't at my best. But I wasn't posting positive things. I'd still go to Mondo Nostalgia and post a recipe for chicken soup or a music video that might make you smile or something, but not to the point where I like to do it. And I slept a lot. all my creative side. I've had been many emotions during all this, but one of the emotions I have not been is bored. I have a lot I can do. I have a lot of projects. I do my apartment laundry. I clean up a little bit. I watch movies. I watch TV like everybody else. Listen to music, lots of music. But I was sleeping. I just sleep, and it was maybe my body telling me I needed it. Eventually, I had some nice chats with people online or on the phone, and they started healing me. And again, most of the time, it has to be me. But I let myself go dark. I even let myself go suicidal. I didn't care if I got it. I cared if I gave it to my friends or family. But I didn't care. Because I kind of wanted to die, I won't lie. Because I was afraid that at the end of this year, all those wonderful changes that people talked about weren't going to happen. And we were going to be right back. But now we're going to take the negative parts and keep them, which is more social distancing. And we had already begun that. So I eventually picked myself up. I got myself up. And on Saturday night, I decided that other people must be feeling the same way. I did what I've always done in the past. I went on Facebook and said, I'm going to be here before Earth Hour. And please, talk to me. We don't have to talk about coronavirus. We could talk about anything. I only got a handful of people because I think other people were going through the same thing as me. Maybe not to the extreme, maybe worse. But I got a couple of talks and it made me happy enough. And I had talks with people I don't talk with that often, which was quite nice. Made me smile. I appreciate the people that check up on me. And I can tell the people who appreciate when I check up on them. I can't check up on everyone. I have a lot of people on my friends lists, but I've done my best, and I apologize if you're listening and I didn't check up on you. I also tend to, if I say, well, I'm not really that close to that person, but it seems like they have a lot of people. I won't say names, but I recently checked up on someone who's a little older but dear to my heart. They appreciated me checking on them, and they said that they have a ton of relatives, that none of them, except maybe 3, and I was one of those 3. And I am connected to this person, but I'm not blood. And they said, you don't know how much we appreciate that you have looked out for us. So, please, look out for someone. There's always that friend that you're, maybe comments on your thing or is just a friend that you don't think about too often, maybe an acquaintance even more. But if you think about it, maybe they don't have people like you, and it doesn't take a lot to just say, hug, sending love, I hope you're keeping well. Let me know if you need anything. I'm not trying to say I'm a saint because I opened up my Facebook for a few hours and talked to people. I'm just trying to do my part. I've got a close group of friends that I've said, you tell me if you need something and I'll drop it off at your front door. Sadly, I won't be able to give you a hug, but you'll get a huge one the next time we are able to. We can't all save the whole world, but if each of us do a little bit, and it doesn't take all that much, then maybe we would be down on depressions more. And if you're going through it, stay strong. Look to the beautiful things out there. There are some wonderful things out there. There's people, celebrities that are doing podcasts. There's people that are nobody that are doing podcasts. Hey, me. Sometimes just hearing another voice can be helpful. I posted something recently that's saying listening to 5 to 10 songs a day can actually help your immune system. It can help your mood. I'd probably go for 5 or 10 happy songs, maybe one sad one. I don't know. I just think 5, 10 really depressing songs. And trust me, there's a lot of songs out there right now that are amazing that it probably shouldn't be played right now, but I'm glad they are. I think I may have talked about that on the last show. So if I got out of my depression, you can too. And hey, reach out to me. I might not be able to solve your problems, but I will respond back, and I will try to give you hope. I still, for the majority of my days, still have hope. All right, there has been some news stories that happened through the coronavirus, and I also want to take a look at comfort foods that you guys gave me. There's been a lot of stories of people who have the corona and who don't. But I said a couple of weeks ago when Tom Hanks and his wife Rita Wilson had it, it was a big thing because we had A-listers that had the virus. And that is huge because that puts a face on it. And that's when people take it serious. This week, we had lots of people, but I guess the biggest was probably Prince Charles admitting that he has tested positive for it. That, to me, is absolutely huge. So he's, of course, been isolated. Probably be nice to be isolated in a big mansion. You could probably have like 20 people in your home, and you could all have your own areas. Like literally areas. I'm not just talking one room. But anyhow, I'm sure he still is out with people and stuff like that. Sorry, I was just thinking of a funny meme that I posted on Mondo Nostalgia. If you didn't see it, it basically... Actually, I don't know if I posted it or not, but I thought it was funny. It said that police were going to start breaking up parties of 5 or more. And what I loved about this meme was it said, so if you're in a household that has 6 people, you're going to soon find out who the least favorite is. And I thought that was kind of funny. There's a lot of jokes and song parodies out there. And I'll be honest, if you're worried about seeing that much on Mondo Nostalgia, I don't post that much. Even if I think something's funny, I won't post it unless I think it's in fairly good taste or it's funny, but just kind of a little strange more than really dark. You know, I know everybody's doing, these weird song parodies, and if that's your thing, that's fine. But if not, then that. So anyhow, besides Prince Charles, we also had our first official celebrity death from it. Probably not familiar unless you're an old-time country fan, and that's kind of sad because we lost Kenny Rogers, not of coronavirus last week, but this week, country singer Joe Diffie died, and he definitely had the coronavirus because he came out and said he did. And there's a couple of others in critical condition, but as far as I know, this is the first celebrity death. And again, if you don't know country music, you probably wouldn't know who Joe Diffie is. I went through a phase where I listened to country music. I still do. But in the 90s, I listened to it quite a lot, and that's when he had some big hits. He had some hits like In My Own Backyard, Third Rock from the Sun, Prop Me Up Beside the Jukebox When I Die. Probably a little inappropriate, but still a great song. Home, If You Want Me To, So Help Me Girl, Bigger Than the Beatles, and Night to Remember, just a couple. And that were huge hits back in the 90s, and it's sad. I don't have any real personal stories. I just know the guy, and I liked his music a lot, and really sad that we lost him. We also lost a couple other people in the entertainment industry, but they weren't from coronavirus as far as I know. Stuart Gordon was a director of B movies, his biggest movie being Reanimator, which is a very popular cult movie. That's not woodpeckers, if you're hearing that. There's some knocking going on. We got people who, I think they're redesigning their house or putting up plexiglass. I think every room of their house is going to look like, the room that Hannibal Lecter's in when, Clarice shows up. I don't know. We've been hearing knocking day and night, and I don't know what they're building down there, but so if you're a fan of like Reanimator and a couple of other B movie classics, you probably know who Stuart Gordon is. And the other big death, and this is even big for me because I'm not a big sports fan, but I was a big fan of this particular group, especially back in the 70s and 80s. And they're still around, but they really hit their peak in the 70s and 80s. And Fred Curly Neal of the Harlem Globetrotters passed away. And I remember watching The Wide World of Sports, and I'd always watch it when the Harlem Globetrotters were on because they were just amazing. I never knew any of them. I even watched like when they went to Gilligan's Island. I even watched when they had their own cartoon show. So I knew who the Harlem Globetrotters were. I knew it was a huge event when they came to town back in the 70s and 80s. And they're still touring, and I still think people get excited for it. But as a kid, I only remember two, Meadowlark Lemon, who we lost a couple of years ago, and Fred Curly Neal, because he was the bald guy, and his name was Curly, and that was, as a kid, it was fun. And those two were probably the faces of Harlem Globetrotters. And I'm glad to still see that they do tour because they offer a lot of laughs. If you've never seen them, go on YouTube and watch some of their stuff. Pretty hilarious stuff. As I said, I have some nice memories watching with my brothers, having a laugh at all the goofiness they would do. And I actually think they should be commended because I think they really helped bring basketball to the forefront. Basketball is huge now, but back in the 70s, it was just, I remember playing it in gym, but it wasn't as huge as baseball or football or hockey. But the Harlem Globetrotters made it, as I said, they'd show it on Wide World of Sports, and I don't know if they showed a lot of basketball except for that. So in some ways, they should be commended for that. So really sad loss, and seeing some people from my generation really being touched by the loss of Fred Curly Neal. You could tell the Harlem Globetrotters still mean something to people today. Definitely after this thing, check them out. So anyhow, not much other news. More movies being pulled from the theater. Wonder Woman 84 and Scoob are now gone. Wonder Woman's now moving to August, and Scoob does not have a release date yet. I'm intrigued by Scoob even more because I think I mentioned last week or something, it looks like Hanna-Barbera's trying to do a shared universe because I've seen Blue Falcon, Dynamite, and now there's pictures of leaked of Captain Caveman. So I'm getting kind of excited about this movie in a weird way. Anyhow, every week I've been asking a question on Sundays. Thank you again. My question back on March 22nd was, what's your favorite comfort food? Something you really enjoy but always takes you back to a cherished time or memory. That's the official question. And I got some wonderful responses. My response was French toast. I'll read my response and then I'll explain it if I have to. For me, it's French toast. No matter when I eat it, it takes me back to my dad making it every Sunday morning and watching old Laurel and Hardy, Little Rascals, and Three Stooges shorts. Yeah, my dad used to always make French toast Sundays, always Sundays, never any other day. I eventually got spoiled and got French toast a lot more during my lunches and stuff, but my dad only made it when it was Sunday. And NBC used to show Sunday morning funnies from, I believe it was 10:30 to 12. And I think I've talked about it in the past. And they would show lots of different things from Laurel and Hardy, Little Rascals, Three Stooges. They'd even show like Abbott and Costello, Keystone Cops maybe. It might be a little too early. I know they did play a couple of Ma and Pa Kettles, which we talked about last week with Tina Taylor. So, yeah, I would love it. And when I make it still, sometimes I even stack my French toast and cut it into squares. Not always, but when I really need that extra comfort, I'll do that because my dad used to do that for me. And, yeah, I'll cut it into squares and put my Maggie on it. I'll look that up. I'm not getting into that, but that's what I put on it because I like my French toast savory. Now I have it all the time, but when I do, I think about my dad, especially when I do the cutting it up in 4 squares. It makes me feel like a little kid, and I love it. Now, we got some wonderful responses I'm going to share with you because that's what I'm doing now, and I love it. Corda put Lipton chicken noodle soup, and she actually decided to have some that night because of it. And yeah, I just put a recipe up for basic chicken noodle soup, and people love that. And yeah, it's simple, it's quick. I don't eat it as a lot, but I just said to Mike, I think I want to kind of make some chicken noodle soup from scratch and give it a shot. Definitely have Corda over. She does so much for me. So now I have to do it because Corda's going to hold that against me. So yeah, great choice. Dave, a friend of mine, Dave Marshall, my mom's macaroni and cheese casserole. Ooh, this sounds nice. I knew Dave's mom. She's no longer with us. I think Dave should try to make a macaroni and cheese casserole. Yeah, I think he should. I think I should try to make that too. I think I could. I know I'd probably go for still the craft dinner because I do like craft dinner, but no, I think we should try that. So Dave, if you're listening, get those ingredients and give it a shot. Lou Mauer, I don't know how to say it. Lou Mauer, a wonderful friend. She gives wonderful hugs. Pancakes and bacon. She said, my uncle was a prospector for Comico, and when he dropped in, he always cooked breakfast. I'm not the biggest pancake fan, but I do like them. I just don't eat a lot of them. You know, people have big stacks. I might have 1 or 2. Pancake and bacon. I like bacon, but I'm not obsessed like some people, but I'm intrigued by this. I may have to give this a chat. Thank you, Lou, for sharing that with us. Gary Reed. Shake and baked chicken makes me think of my nan, and I think all of us from a certain age, and I know you can still buy shake and bake. I think you can still buy. I know we were having it up to a couple of years ago. I haven't had it in ages, but that is definitely 70s and 80s there. That was huge. That was like, oh, chicken again. I actually love having chicken. I can have it all the time, but there were times when you were a kid like, chicken again. But shake and bake always made it that extra special, and apparently for Gary even more. But yeah, I'm going to look to see if they have shake and bake chicken. This is making me way too hungry. I should have not done this on an empty stomach. Anyhow, I think that's all the answers we got. I didn't get as much as before. I have posted a new one about what your dream job was when you were a kid. Please, after you're done this, and before you go to the Harlem Globetrotter clips on YouTube, definitely please go to Mondo Nostalgia and check out what we have for you. Especially that question. You might have to roll down, but that's okay. There's a lot of great stuff in there. Things that'll make you laugh, recipes, things that are going on, like podcasts and stuff. I have a couple friends who do podcasts, and I put it up there. Definitely stuff from the Playhouse and the Westdale. The Westdale's even doing an online movie course. Head over there if you're a movie fan. They've got a movie club, not a course. And then just, free classes all over the place. And, I'll put weird stuff like how to make Play-Doh with flour, water, and salts. And then, of course, music videos and great memories and any interesting article that just, I think, makes you feel good. So, anyhow, I actually finished this up, and I don't know how long it is, but, it's just a little over an hour. I'm okay with that. And hopefully I've given you some things. I know this isn't the best one to take your mind off things, but I promise I'm going to try to come up with something creative next week, whether we talk about movies or music or something. I'll try to figure out something, but we'll try not to talk so much about the coronavirus, but and I will have a much pretty picture of me. I'll have to get in a tuxedo or something. No, that's not going to happen. Don't look for that. Unless, I happen to find a cheap tuxedo at Walmart, but that doesn't seem like a real essential thing because I don't think I'm going to have many invites to dinner parties anytime soon. Anyhow, I told you I'm going to leave you with hope. There's a lot of craziness out there. Even the people I'm mad at that are posting everything, I'm not mad at them. I don't hate them. I understand everything they're doing is to make them feel good too. They're going through anxiety and fear, and we're all in this together. All I can say is when you seem to start feeling it, step away from social media. If you get tired of binge watching, or read a book, or go out and walk. You can still go take walks. And I know the weather should be getting good. I really want it to get hot soon. Drink some hot things. One of my worries during my depression was I was going to start gaining a lot of weight, but so far I've been pretty good. I haven't been snacking that much, and I've been avoiding the cola. I just have a cola every once in a while when I need one, but I've actually stayed on it, and I'm going to try to, because I don't want my laundry pants to fit the next time I go out for a essential supply run. Don't be too hard on yourself. This is a hard time. Nobody prepared for this. Nobody predicted it. Governments are trying to figure it out day by day. So you're not expected to figure it out either. Figure out your support group. Figure out the people that mean so much to them, and don't be afraid to ask if you need something. Whether it's a carton of eggs, a roll of toilet paper, or I just need a friend to talk to for a couple of minutes. Do not be afraid to ask. They might not be in the headspace or can do it, but you'd be surprised that they might lead you into a direction to get you somewhere. And in most cases, they'll do it. So stay strong until we meet again, and I look forward to talking with you all very, very soon.